Welcome to Word Chapter 1, Creating, Formatting, and Editing a Word Document with Picture. We're using Microsoft Word version 2013. Our objectives listed on page WD1. Notice that the WD pages in your textbook are the ones that have the blue running across the top and down the side of the page. The objectives listed here on page 1 will tell you everything you're going to be doing. Many of you will be very comfortable with this. Some of you will be learning a lot of new stuff. Hopefully everybody will learn something. So here on page WD1 are the objectives. Page 2 is an overview talking about the purpose of flyers. We want to get people's attention and draw them over to something specific, correct? So we're going to learn to put that together. WD3 shows you the flyer that we're going to create and some things about it. We're going to be putting on a page border. A headline is what we call the title. The body copy is what the text will be put in, and we end it with a signature line. If you've already taken 133 and you're comfortable with the format of letters, you know that we have signing each one of those. Here in a flyer we call it a signature line even though you're not signing. Is simply to call the attention of what we want to do. Many of you will be comfortable looking at that picture and just creating it. However, I would encourage you to follow these detailed instructions starting on page 4 going through page 60 to learn the methodology and strategy that the publisher, the textbook author, is giving us. It is a good strategy for completing work. And you won't miss out on the details and lose any points for various spacing and sizing issues. And you'll also be better prepared for taking the application test. Every time we finish a software, we will do an actual application test where you will prove to me that you learned how to do something. Very helpful in this textbook. I love the changes they made. They have a road map here at the top of page WD4 showing us what we're going to be doing and in what order. They recommend you enter text, then format it, then insert your picture, format it, and enhance the page. And of course, correcting revisions you may do along the way. And when you're done, you look over your flyer. Some of you are used to formatting as you type, and hopefully we'll show you a little bit of a difference why you might not want to consider that specifically. Let's get started. On your computer, however you need to, you start Word. If you hit the Start button and it's not listed, or if it's not an icon, like for me it's down here on my taskbar because I told it to stay there already. If it's not listed, you want to find it quickly, you could go hunt and peck through all programs. You could also type right here in your search programs, W, mine populates right up, first thing, and you would select it and open it. I'm going to right click it and show you yours. If you wanted to have it available down here in the taskbar like I do, your menu would probably say pin to taskbar, and that would be one way to get your icons down here in the taskbar. They're always available for you in a single click. So as I said, you would select it, it opens. This is the new look. If you get this message that says the command is not available because no document is open, you may click OK and just ignore that. This is the new look in 2013. It'll always show you all these templates thinking of things you may want to do. They're trying to be very helpful. Simply click blank document. That's all we need. We start off with entering text. The first thing we're going to enter is the title of our flyer, Adventure. Now if you look on page 5 in your textbook, down at the bottom is a figure 1-2 that talks about the different things in your window. These are good things to ask on quiz questions. What do we call this? It's called the document window. It's a mock sheet of paper. This is the text we type. Insertion point, styles grouping, all these little things that you're learning about the places on your window so that you can talk about them. The purpose I focus on learning these kind of stuff is so that you can talk about them when you are on the phone with your IT department or other people. You may get called and asked how can you do something for a coworker and you don't want to tell them, well click that thingy there. No, it's the one that looks like this. Give them a name. So we have our adventure typed. Ooh, we're supposed to end it with an exclamation point. This is our headline of our flyer. You have to get used to the lingo. We're going to press enter to get to a new line, and our blinking cursor insertion point tells us that we've moved. We're also going to press enter again because we're going to leave one blank line for when we bring in our picture. Notice here on your home tab of the ribbon you have a icon that looks like a backwards P. When you click that, you can see the non-printing marks such as space bars and enters. So this backward P means the enter key has been pressed. Do you need to work with these on? Absolutely not. What I want you to learn out of this class is when you should have them turned on, and hopefully make more use of that. Your book also has on page 6, if you want to zoom onto different areas so that your window looks exactly like the textbook, that is entirely your choice. Quickly and easily, down here on your right part of your status bar is your zoom percentage. You may click and drag that to easily adjust what you're working on. But if you'd like to practice zooming, you can certainly go to the View tab to do so. Word wrap is the function that Microsoft has that allows you to just continually type, and it will put as many characters on a line as the font and size allows. So you don't have to press enter at the end of a line. Now, the reason this is important is because maybe you're going to change the font. If you press enter at the end of every line, you would have to then change the enter point of every line. We don't want to have to do that. There are 4 reasons to give at the bottom of page 8 that you would have for when you would press the enter key, and I believe this is on your quiz. You insert a blank line like we're going to leave for our picture. You want to begin a new paragraph. You're done with the last one. You have a short line of text that you want to advance, that you want left alone, and you want to have a new line in the next same paragraph. You want to move to a new line. Or if you have a dialog popped up that you have to answer a question for. Those are the only 4 times that we want to press the enter key as we are typing. So we are going to allow it to word wrap. Again, you may turn off your show formatting marks if you don't like them. I'm going to leave them on because I'm used to them and it helps me see things. Typing in some of our body copy shown on page 9. Explore scenic trails with breathtaking views as you travel through meadows, forests, streams, and mountains in an off-road vehicle. In future, I will be pausing the video, typing it in, and then restarting the video so I don't waste your time. You will also want to do the same because you will find that I will talk about it and then bam, it'll show up. So you'll want to make sure you do it. We all know about spelling and grammar as we type. Red wavy line means it doesn't like it. Does a red wavy line mean it's misspelled? It's a flag. Is it automatically spelled? No. For example, my name always comes up misspelled. And it's not a misspelling. What's a green wavy line? Yes, that means grammatically should possibly incorrect. Blue one. Do you ever get a blue one? Think about this. What do we call these? These are context errors. You have a blue wavy line right there. Microsoft is saying, hey, are you sure this is the form of the word that you want to use in this place? So blue is contextual, green is for grammar, red is for potential misspelling. And if you're doing spelling as you go, you just right click it, choose the word that you want. Mine isn't here, so I'm going to have to select one of them and then add my word that I was missing. And again, I'm done with this paragraph. I now press enter and move to the next one. We have some information for them, self-guided tours available, open March through October. And again, if my pace is too fast, pause the video. These are shown on page 11 in figure 1-12. Just type them in yourself. And oh, I cannot type this today. And gear. Good thing this is a short flyer. Right. To book our signature line. To book your adventure, call 555-8928. I will tell you, you really should have, followed by an exclamation point. You really should have the area code in here, because you're thinking short term if you don't put it in. What if somebody sees your flyer, and that's great, but they have a phone that's registered to a 231 area code? Not going to happen. Not going to find you. Number two, a lot of the trend now is to switch from using the hyphen between the numbers to just using periods. So, down the bottom of page 11, how should you organize a flyer? Good things for a quiz. Headline, first line of text, gets your attention, tells what's going to be offered. Body, tells more about it. Signature line tells them what to do. Page 12. Down here at the bottom of page 11, as you can see here in the video. Page 12 has a great list on it. Table 1-1 about moving the insertion point. Table 2 using the scroll bar to get around. Now, as much as I like these things and I like you to know these things, I'm actually considering that application, so I would not ask you to do that. Ask you how to do this on a quiz. So, first of all, next thing, let's save our document. Make sure we save as we go along. If you're working at home, save it wherever you want to. If you're coming back and forth to school, I highly encourage you to save it on a flash drive. Office 2013, if you're using 365, then you have SkyDrive space to save it in. Even if you're not using Office 365, Microsoft offers everyone a 7 GB space free on for a SkyDrive that you could sign up for if you wanted it. I'm just saving it wherever it goes. Saving, however you normally do, you've got the button up here on your quick access toolbar. You can go File, Save. I'm pressing F12. You won't get this message like I do. So then you decide where to save it. I'm literally going to save it to my desktop simply because I don't have a flash drive in and I'm too lazy to go get one. And however you name it is up to you. The book's always going to suggest something. I'm going to encourage you to put something identifying it for when you did it, because if I have a problem with what you submit, I'm going to come back to you and you want to be able to find the file quickly. So for example, I'm going to name this W for Word 1 because we're in chapter 1, and the book's going to recommend the name Adventure Flyer. If you wanted to, I would say Adventure Flyer. And I'm a tad bit different from other people that you know. I encourage you to eliminate spaces between words simply because not every technology works with everything that you think it does. They have these great system came out where you could use multiple words with spaces to name your documents. That was fantastic. The problem we ran into was the backup systems only allowed 8 characters. Backup systems did not grow at the same rate as software and the rest of technology did. So I'm a little old school on this. I want to keep making certain that and space has really killed it. So I'm a little old school. I want to make sure that I can easily find these on a backup if I ever need to again. And I have. They are not fun to go through if you cannot find your file name. So I pressed enter. We have that saved. Now we're going to look at formatting. This is the text or a flyer. That's all we had. We didn't have to do anything else. We want to talk about character versus paragraph formatting. If I have, let's see if I can move a page here, stay up with myself. If I have text that looks like this on the picture on the left hand side, the unformatted page, is anyone coming over to read that? No. Right hand side, adventure catches our title. our attention. We can read some of this text from a ways away, therefore we want to do it to enhance it. Character versus paragraph formatting. Paragraph formatting is something that affects the entire paragraph, such as line spacing, such as alignment, left, center, or right. Character affects an individual character. If you're only going to affect one character, you select one character. If you're going to affect 10 words, you select all 10 words. Paragraphs, you just have to have your cursor somewhere in it. You don't have to select anything, just click in it. Then it will work entirely. Let's give this a try to see how it works. Down at the bottom of page 14 also is things to consider about your flyer. Good stuff to know. Alright, first we go with centering paragraphs. I'll show you how this works. I'm doing a Control Home because I'm a keyboard user and that takes me right up there. I'm going to use a shortcut. You may use your Home tab, you may use your mini toolbar, whatever you need to click the center alignment button for your paragraph. I'm going to just do that Control E. See that shows up? When you leave your mouse set over an icon up here on the ribbon, it will show you a screen tip showing you what that command does. And remember, every button on the ribbon is simply a shortcut to get to a dialog box. I'm going to encourage you to use them, but I hope you will also understand what they get for you, how you can get it done if your ribbon goes away and you can't do it. Keyboard shortcuts are fantastic and they're listed here in parentheses. So I know Control E, bam, moves my paragraph. Hey, do I have anything selected? No, just like I said, nothing selected. Same thing for our signature line. I know that one needs to be centered. Let's do a Control E. Bam. There we go. Alright. And sorry, catching myself up in my notes for a second here. Moving ahead of things too quickly. One thing I missed I do want to reference is your ribbon. Every software for Microsoft Office has these. They are broken up, and each one of these are called tabs across the top for a category of commands. Then inside that, we subcategorize, we're calling them groups. And you see this word underneath it. So the clipboard group, the font group, the paragraph group, styles, editing. And then inside each one of those groups are the commands that work for that group. Another way to distinguish format of fonts per by characters and characters and paragraphs. Fonts are characters. Paragraph grouping, obviously paragraphs. So the things that happen over here in a font grouping, that if they affect the characters, you need to select them. And then I'm going to have a caveat to that in just a moment. So watch and see. Alright, now I'm going to do something and I'll show you the difference I was talking about. Remember I just said in characters you have to select the whole thing. By the way, what's your default font size? Calibri 11. Everybody should be having that right up there. And you can also, when you're deciding to increase and decrease font sizes, you can do it mathematically. Shows on page 17. The little text at the top of our instructions says, hey, we want this to be an inch tall. Mathematically, how can I figure out the size I need to change this to? Well, if you understand what it's telling you, that the single point size is 72. So 1/72 is a single point size. So if I want a full 1/72 of an inch, if I want a full inch, I want font size 72. Now, and the other way they're looking at this is anything that fits on a line. Well, I can fit a lot of stuff on this line. I can increase this really large. I may not know how it's going to fit. I have a button here in my font grouping that says increase font. I can take that all the way until I'm done. Oops, doesn't fit anymore. 110 is too much. Ooh, here's something else I notice. Look at my exclamation point in my paragraph mark. I don't care too much about the paragraph mark, but look at that exclamation point. That did not change. So what you're seeing is that you may affect an entire word without selecting it, but you cannot affect more than that word. So I'm going to use a handy dandy little button over here that I love called Clear All Formatting. Bam! Ooh, cleared my center alignment. Well, I can easily get that back. Saved me what, 10 clicks of a mouse trying to get back down to the size? What your book says is select the entire line. I can do it in one click. Can you? Double click? No. Treble click? No. If you move your mouse over here to the left side to your margin, single click, you get that block arrow? Yes. Answer to the quiz question? Yes. Your mouse changes shapes depending on where you point it. Now, I can either use my mini toolbar or I can go directly back up to my ribbon and choose that I want font size 72. What if I want letters that are 2 inches tall? 72 times 2 is 144. It's not in my list. Easy. Just type it in. So right here, I could also type in. And as you see my screen moving or jumping around, yes, we have that fantastic preview available to us showing us what's going on. Press enter and everything on that line changed. One of the reasons that we don't encourage formatting as you type, as you go, is because people forget that this is at 72 and they go to leave a blank line for the picture. Now they clear this off and they type here. They clear everything. We have too much space left for the picture. See the differences between these two? Not what we want to do. So that's one of the reasons the methodology in the book is to type everything, then go back and format. So we have that set to 72. We also need to change the font size of this line. So again, I'm going to select the line using my mouse over on the left margin, clicking that. We want Calibri as our default. I'm just going to go to Berlin. I'm starting typing it in. Ooh, here's Berlin Sans FB. You want to be careful if you're doing this type-in stuff because there's actually more than one. So if you start typing in Berlin Sans FB, notice that there's this demi underneath it. That's the one that your textbook wants you to have. So I'm going to do that. You click in it and it goes that one. Here's the other thing. We should have this in all capital letters. That's going to look better. We're not going to retype it, right? Right? Nobody's retyping? It's only a single word. I understand that, but why? You have a button up here on your ribbon that will change case. Now, this one's interesting. Does not give you a screen tip, but there is a keyboard shortcut for it. You may, let me see if I'm wrong, move my mouse up there. No, doesn't tell you a screen tip. Notice there's 5 things here. Sentence case, lowercase, uppercase, each word individually capped. Toggle case. How many times have you typed something to figure out your all caps was on? Ugh. Toggle case. Don't retype it. The keyboard shortcut is Shift F3. The difference is it only has 3 things. I press it once, takes it to all caps, press it again, all lowers, and the third way is initial cap. Oop, what did I do? There we go. Shift F3 once, and it's a rotation, so you just keep pressing it until you get back around to the one that you want. And I've got that going for us. Great! Now we also want to format it. There's a button here called Special Effects, Text Effects. You can go down and individually affect various parts of your effect. You get that? Affect your effect? Haha. We also have some presets up here that we find people like to use. We're looking for the one, and your book lists this. You got to follow every single word. Fill, hyphen, white, comma, outline, hyphen, accent 1, comma, glow, hyphen, accent 1. So what this means is this preset text effect already has the fill set to white, already has the outline set to accent 1, already has the glow set to accent 1. So it's set 3 different things already on this. We'll take this and click it. Now my picture, this is interesting, doesn't catch much attention, doesn't look like our book yet. Well, let's make it look just a little bit better. This gray is because I have it selected, not because it is colored. Let's actually put a colored box around it. We're not going to draw a box that we have to worry about where it sits and if our text ever comes out of it kind of thing. We're simply going to use the paragraph, looks like a bucket of paint up here, shading command. And we're going to select that one, a drop down arrow so we can see what it is. And again, in your book you're looking for green, accent 6. Well, I can see the greens are right over here, and I hold still. Ooh, right there it says accent 6, but your book has more, comma, darker 25%. So you just go down your list. We can tell the difference between light and dark, and I find the one that says darker 25%, and I'm happy. I click it. Doesn't that look nice? Now, moving forward, selecting, and we want to apply bullets. These 3 lines here, self-guided tours, open, and all vehicles, definitely want to move those to bullets list. And simply select all 3 and apply the bullets. This is one thing that would be very okay to format as you type. Does anybody know how to start a bulleted list with the keyboard? Simply type an asterisk and a space, and every time you press the enter key it would put more in there until the trick here is when you are done. When you are done with your bulleted list, many of us have the habit, especially, let's turn off that show hide, we're done, so let's just hit backspace. We don't need it. Where's our cursor? It's still indented over here into the list, so we hit the backspace. We're ready to go. Just a little bit, acts like a normal paragraph. We're ready to start typing. Where does our typing start? It's still under the bullet. You have to hit backspace again to get all the way back to the left margin. So instead of doing that, when you are done with the bulleted list, one of 2 things. Actually take your hand off the keyboard and move up to your mouse and click that button that says I'm done with the bulleted list, or simply press enter, and that takes your cursor back to a default normal paragraph. I need to undo some things here, so I'm going to get rid of this and just clear my formatting. Delete these 2 lines. Now I have my 3 selected, and I just collect the bullet list. They look great. I may have missed something. For example, all of this looks too small to me. So I'm going to select this paragraph through all of our body cup, not our signature line. We'll deal with that one in a minute. I'm going to change the font size on this one. Leave it at Calibri. That's totally fine. I'm just going to change the font size to 24. There. Looks a little better. It's going to be able to be seen across from a room. I like it. That's our goal. Alright, we need to format some specific words to draw more attention to them. For example, we have breathtaking views. We just don't have breathtaking views. We have breathtaking views. And we want to convey that to our reader. So this I'm affecting only the word, not any words, not any punctuation around it. So this one I do not have to select. I just click somewhere in it. I want to italicize it. I see up in my font grouping there's an I can click on for italics. I also know that I can do a Control I and change that. Turn it right on. We're going to change that a color, and we're going to the letter A here with a line underneath it. That line could be any color. That means the last color that was used. So on the default starts in red. So I'm going to click the drop down arrow, and the book says we want to go to orange. This is the orange column, whether you believe it or not. Read the words. It says accent 2, I'm in. Darker 25%. We've done that before. Got it. So you scroll until you find it. We also now want to underline the phone number. Actually, we're going to do the whole signature line. I want to affect the whole signature line. What did I do before? That's right, move my mouse over to the left margin, block arrow, and click once. My mini toolbar shows up. I know that I already want this to be the orange color. Well, look at that letter A. The last color I used was the orange, so all you have to do is select it and click it once. Font size, we're going to switch to 28. How do I know that? The book said so. When you're doing your own flyers, you're going to go with whatever you like that looks good. Off-road vehicle. This one I know, off-road, I want to be in bold because that's kind of cool. People are going to be really excited. So using the concept I just said, this is a single word. I'm going to click it in it, and I'm doing Control B for bold. Ooh, didn't work. Drat, why not? Turns out the hyphen means it's not a single word. So we actually select this and now put it in bold. When you are bolding, I don't care if you select the space mark afterwards. You usually won't want to select the period if it's end of a sentence, but bolding doesn't really affect the way that the spacing is, so I wouldn't do that. Back up on spacing, one thing I forgot to mention to you, and I believe this is on your quiz. The number of characters that fit across the line, so the number of characters that fit across this line on my page, I said are affected by your font and your font size. That's true. But ultimately, they're determined by the printer. If you switch printers, it may drop a character and all of a sudden your line endage changes. Case in point, I had a coworker who wrote a dissertation. Those are extremely picky about how the formatting. So they had margins. He had a ruler that he took places, and he would check margins are left and right. Indentation in a paragraph was 5 characters. And then he would also check, and he had his line ending set up. We had to have page numbers at the top of this page, but at the bottom of this page we had to start and page numbering over on this page. All sorts of intricate details in this document for formatting. He went and successfully defended, and then he came back from the interview and he had to print it off, send it off to New York, just 10 copies of it. Great. We're all excited for him. A few minutes later, he's on the phone. Beth Ann, what happened? My document is a mess. My page breaks are all off. Nothing's working right. And I remembered, while he was gone, we had changed the printer in that area. He had a new printer. Thankfully, we still had the old printer, so we went up to that office where it was now being used, put his disk in there. We were back in the day of floppy disks. And sure enough, all of the page line breaks and page breaks and all that went out beautiful, just as when he had left the office the first time. So case in point, printers decide how much text goes across. Next thing we have to do is underline our phone number. Again, one word. I click once. No. Undo. And we do know our undo buttons. Do we know the keyboard shortcuts for undo? Control Z is an undo. F4 is a redo. F4 is not only a redo, it's also a repeat action. And that's a better, more appropriate descriptive thing for it. For example, I'm going to throw a new document up here, and if I type this line and press enter, I press F4, it repeats that every time. You will get to Excel and you'll find out it only repeats it once, but here in Word it repeats it every time you touch it. So 4 is actually a repeat key. So again, that hyphen sets us off for more than one word. So we will select it all. Then I'm doing my keyboard shortcut for Control U, which highlights the U up here on the ribbon. Your book is going to suggest that you view the whole page now so you can see how it looks together. You can shrink your zoom, or you could go to the View tab and actually change it. I'm going to encourage you always to adjust your zoom so that you easily see things, because you want to save your eyes. I'm already in bifocals. Now I'm trying to save from going to trifocals. I changed this view. Here's an interesting thing. Did you know that if you have a web page, this stuff is a little bit small to read. Control and the plus key will increase the zoom size of your web pages. Control and the minus key will shrink it when you don't need as much. Just something to think about. So your book wanted you to shrink this so that you can see everything, so you see how it's going, what's happening. We're also going to change our theme colors, because this just doesn't quite cut it. Isn't that interesting? Here on your Design tab of the ribbon, we have a button on the left hand side called Themes. These are preset themes. They already have color schemes and font schemes all selected that they're going to use, and you could see how each one of it would change. I don't find anything called green. These should be in alphabetical order. Sure enough, I don't find anything. That's because that's not what we're doing. The instruction is to change your theme colors. So over here in this middle is a gallery of document formatting that you could choose how you want the styles groupings to look. We actually want to be over here in the button that says colors towards the right hand side of the ribbon on the Design tab. Now as we go, we can see how the color changes. So you may like the font setup that you're using, and you just want a different color scheme. For people like me, and possibly some of you that are color challenged, this is fantastic. You know, somebody's walking along, you're looking at the outfit, and you're like, I would never wear that, but it looks fantastic on them. I can't tell you what colors across from what color on a color wheel. I can't even always tell you what color's the next one. All I know is the primary are supposed to be red, blue, yellow? And black and white are just there. I don't know. So this is perfect for me. Maybe it's perfect for you too. Let's click on green. And our theme colors changed. Back in our textbook on page 32 is a nice table for selecting techniques for selecting text. Again, this is more of a process, so I wouldn't ask you how to do this on a quiz, but I would probably expect you to be able to do this to accomplish your application document when we get done with our Word chapters. We need a picture in this, if you recall. Besides, who's going to come over and read this with just this stuff on it? Pictures draw people in, don't they? Alright, if you recall, we left a blank return. I'm going to my Home tab on the ribbon, click on Home, click on my Show Hides. Yep, it's still there. Not the same size as everything else, but again, it doesn't need to be, and I'll show you why. Let's insert a picture. If you are using a flash drive, you should have downloaded all of these pictures onto that flash drive. If you are here at school, I'm going to show you where at school you can find them if you don't want to get for them off your flash drive. You should have, oh, we don't want to do that. We're in the wrong spot. Let's go to, that's the place you don't want to be. You don't want to do this through Windows Explorer. You're not opening everything. You should be on the Insert tab of your ribbon. Click Insert, and then let's say Pictures. Should populate to your picture gallery, and you probably don't have anything in here. On the left-hand side of this window, you should have the computer icon. If it's not listing things, then you want to click it and have it display lists. At the bottom, you probably have a J drive when it has your name on it. If you hover over it, you can see it's got your name, and there at the very end is the letter J. I often refer to things as storing to your J drive, or you will have something here that is labeled student that ends in the letter H. I refer to that as the H drive. I cannot get to that from my computer, so you will have to trust me. It's labeled student, then it's in alphabetical order by course. So you would find BA 145, and there would be a data disk, not a Mrs. Talsma disk. My stuff for this, we're going to go in. Did I do this? Did I get the files? Nothing is found. Same thing for you. You actually downloaded the files you were supposed to, but nothing is showing up. Well, guess what? When you downloaded, you brought the pictures in as a zip file, and you cannot insert a picture from a zip file. So you actually need to go to go through your data files, find your chapter 1 for Word, and Mountain you're going to want to copy. I'm going to do a Control C because I'm going to take this and copy it. You need to actually store it on your, I'm doing a Control V to paste. You actually need to store it somewhere on that flash drive or somewhere on your computer. Zip files you'll never be able to launch something from or insert something from. So take a moment, pause if you need to, fix your files. We are moving on, we're back. And our picture is inserted. It was the mountain trails picture we inserted. Now we can resize it. Resize the graphic. It's kind of small. Couple things. It's off to the left. Very awkward. Let's do a Control E right now. Pictures by default. See position up here? You now have a Picture Tools tab that shows up on the ribbon. Your ribbon changes for whenever you need something. When you have a picture selected, this Picture Tools, the Format tab will show up. The position that your picture comes in is in line with text. It considers it a character in your line of text. So paragraph alignment, center, left, right, affect where the picture is positioned on the phase. I'm sorry, on the page. New in this version, you get a layout button right here next to your picture that you would click, and there's some outlines there. Maybe you don't want it to be in line with text. Maybe you want to have text around it. Working left, center, and right is great within the margins, but maybe you want it to extend beyond the margins into the white space of the paper. Well, this you would want to do a different type of text wrapping, and so those are some great options to have right there, quick and easy for you. If you press escape, everything goes away. Your Picture Tools tab on the bar also goes away. To get it back, just click the picture. Sizing, I would encourage you to resize the picture using a corner handle. You'll notice my mouse has moved over to the corner. If you take a side sizing handle or a top or bottom, your picture will be disproportionate, out of proportion. Your people will look fat or skinny, however you want to make them look. All sorts of fun things that we like to do. We want to keep this in proportion, so I'm going to click and drag a corner. Notice how in 2013 everything easily and seamlessly adjusts. We want to keep it on one page. Oops, so I went a little too far. My signature line went away, so I know it's right. Here's the other thing. Your book says your picture should be about 3.26 inches wide and about 5.04 tall. Well, look at right up here on your ribbon and the right hand side in the size category, you can literally type that in, 3.26. Now when I press enter, watch that my width will also change. That's because there's a button you don't see. If we launch this size dialog box, there's a button right here that says lock the ratio, lock the proportionates. So if we adjust the height 10%, adjust the width whatever is necessary to match that 10%. Notice mine isn't exactly what the book said it would be. That's why we have that word about. Don't fuss over getting it perfectly exactly what the book was. Not what we're looking to do. That's a nice picture. Wouldn't it be nicer with just a little bit of oomph added onto it? Sure. We can do things called picture styles. Up here in your ribbon under your Format tab of Picture Tools, we have styles. The Style Gallery is showing you the most frequently readily used, and it looks like it came in with a metal frame. We are actually going to change that. Looking for drop down rectangle. Drop shadow rectangle. Again, Words in your book, you want to look for exactly what's there. It's already in my list, so I don't have to look further. If you wanted to, you could check out the button here at the right edge of the picture styles gallery, and it'll show you all the picture styles that you have available to you. They're not always in alphabetical order, so sometimes, again, if you're doing your own, you're going to be hunting and pecking for which one of these you like, and you'll have some that you want to get used to. You can see it on the right hand side of the picture. Yep, there's a little bit of a shadow reflecting behind it. Well, let's give this just a little bit more oomph. Under, just to the right of our picture gallery, still here in the picture styles, we can affect the border, we can affect the layout, and we can affect actual effects on it. Let's check that out. Same with we did with text effects. There's all these different things that you can put on it. We want to change the glow. Find turquoise. Turquoise is more blue than green. Oh, that's lime. So we go over here to the right. Turquoise, 5 point. Well, where did my turquoise go? These are teal. Teal. Turquoise is definitely the last column for me. 5 point must be up near the top. There it is. 5 point glow, accent color 6. I have it. That's what I want. So now it's got that little glow around it. More picture effects. Bevel. This looks like our edges styles. Let's look for angle. Mine is in the second row. And now you can see has a little angle on each one of the edges there. Just oomph, pops that picture out there just a little bit more. Like it. In addition, something that might make this picture just a little bit more visually attractive. This looks darn good. Trust me, I like it. Something might be just a little bit more attractive is if we add a page border. On our design tab of our ribbon, back where we changed our colors, remember this here? Over on the right hand side, there's things like watermark, page color. You can add a whole color to the page, or a page border. And that's what we're looking to do. Click that button, it brings up the dialog box for it. And we're going to choose the second one on the list, more of a dotted look around it. The list of styles here in the middle. On the right hand side, you're seeing a sample of your page, and you see the 4 edges. If you don't want a border on there, you just take it off. Click it to bring it back. So you can choose to have just left and right, or top and bottom, or one side, whatever it is that you're looking for. Notice you have decisions to play only to this whole document, first page only, some other things like that we'll get into in other lessons. We also want the color to change. We're going to move that over to lime. Find lime. Move across to find lime. Accent 2. I'm in accent 3. So lime, accent 2. Now move down to lighter 80%. Not very dark at all. We're just adding in. But if we change our width to be 4.5 point, like we want, the book wants us to, now it sinks a little bit more, and you can see how your dotted lines are going to be like, wow. Hey, that doesn't look right. What'd you do to me? Well, I'm going to go back in the page borders and see. Didn't I do that? Alright, we're clicking page borders, second one, lime, 2, lighter 80, width is 4.5 points. Click OK. There! That's what it should be looking like. If yours doesn't look right, just click undo and add it on, or go back in and change it. Either way. As we're looking at the picture, now I'm noticing I have a little bit of space up here above my heading, and I have more space here underneath my signature line. Actually, that is okay. If you're going to have a document that you can't get equally even spots, but top and bottom, leave the extra space down below, but it should be only a little bit of space, not a lot. I noticed that the signature line could use just a little bit more help, so I'm going to add in some space above this paragraph. If you'll notice on your home tab of the ribbon, in your paragraph grouping, under line and paragraph spacing, click that drop down arrow. Default says remove space after paragraph. Well, how much space is already there? Let's go check it out. Click the button that says line spacing options, or you could just launch it from the arrow to launch paragraph settings. New stuff. New to this version, our line spacing was at 1.15 in Office 2010. It's now 1.08. Spacing afterwards is now 0.8 instead of 0.10. Interesting. We want now to have 12 point before our spacing after paragraphs. Yes, we're going to put it before. There is a keyboard shortcut for this. Control 0 will actually apply a 12-point space above your paragraph, if you wanted to know that one. The other thing we want to know is I said that our picture would be centered. Not quite. Look, we've got a larger space below it than we do above it. Let's fix that. Let's go to Adventure, and this time let's change our space afterwards. Here's another way to change it. On your page layout tab, don't ask me why this is on your page layout tab, because it really belongs in your paragraph grouping. You can also change it right here. Oh, except we don't want it to be 12 above, we want it to be 12 after. And now our picture looks more centered between our heading line, our header, and our body copy. I still have a little bit of space difference, very minuscule. You're not going to see this very much at all. But there is a command we want to learn. By the way, when's the last time you saved this? Let's hit that save button. Bam! Don't lose it. So one more concept I want to show you for setting this flyer up is actually you have to go into the page setup, launch this dialog box. You have to move over to the layout tab. Here under vertical alignment, default is to say that we always want to start at the top of a page. If you change this to center alignment, this says I want to start in the middle of the page and I always want to have the same amount of white space above and below it. Click OK. I'm going to do something to my document. Don't do this, just watch what I'm doing and you'll see the difference. I'm deleting the rest of my body copy and my signature line. So now you can see as I press enter and I type, you can see how it's constantly adjusting the top and the bottom. That might feel a little awkward to work with, and we wouldn't want to do that. So it's good for positioning. It is not always the easiest to see as you're typing. Your screen jumps around a little bit, so you may want to save it and do it afterwards. Either way, up to you. Also notice we did not, I'm going to the home tab, clicking on show hide so I can see my end of my paragraph. We did not press enter at the end of our signature line after our exclamation point. That's because we don't want any extra lines in our document. We didn't want that happening at all for this flyer. Changing document properties, up here in your file, you go to your backstage view. This is a vocab word. Learn your backstage view. You have properties that we can look at and see what's going on, and you can change these. For example, if we wanted to update and add a category to this, in class, or let's call it chapter project. You could name each one of your chapter projects. You're going to have 12 of them. And then if you ever wanted to find all your chapter projects, you could do a search on categories for chapter projects. You can also, if the property you wanted to change is not here, We don't want to open file location. It should be showing. For some reason it's not showing on my screen. Oh. Do the drop down list on properties, and now you can show the document panel. And that will literally appear in your document here that you could change things on. When you're done with it, you would simply close it off. You don't have to do that. Again, hit save. Make sure that you're saving this. 3 types of changes. Page 46. This is on your quiz, and people get it wrong. So make sure that you're checking this out. 3 types of changes. Adds. When something is missing and you're going to add it, you want it in there, it's called an add. If something is in there you don't want, it's called a deletion. If you are changing what's already there, maybe the word, we talked about a contextual error, maybe you're changing one of those. That would be a modification. It's showing we want tour starting April instead of March. That would be a modification. So know those 3 words for your quiz. Printing and reading. We are not going to be printing in this class, but sometimes I will ask you to make sure that you show me a picture of what's going on so I understand that you know how to set up to print. For example, page 51 says we want to print this flyer. We're going to go to, now, in the Office and Windows lesson, you should have added quick print to your print and preview to your quick access toolbar, so you can click the icon right here, or you can go to the file menu and say print and get to the same point. We have where are we printing? Yours is probably going to say follow you student. That's great. What are we printing? All pages. Print on both sides. Not today, we only have one, so I'm going to change it to print on one side. If you only have one sheet, you really don't have to change it, but I'm just looking for things to have you change so you can understand what's going on. We could switch the orientation. Maybe we want to see the flyer in landscape. Ooh, don't like it just as much? Let's switch back to portrait. Maybe you want it to go on legal size instead of letter. All your sizes are here. Maybe you have more than one page in the document. You don't need it to really read from across the screen, so you want to say 2 pages. Have it print 2 pages per sheet, side by side, and you can work with that view also. Change a few of these. You're going to take a print screen of this just like you did in the Office assignment. Print screen, the Windows assignment, hit that button on your keyboard next to the F12. If you're on a laptop, you'll have to find where your button is and do that. Again, nothing changes on our screen, no flickers. I press escape because I want to get out of that. We're not going to actually send things to print. My cursor is still at the end of my document where I left it. If it's not there, press Control N to get there. Now I am going to press the Enter key because I want a new line, and I hit paste. I use the keyboard shortcut Control V, or you can use the paste up here on the ribbon, or right click and paste, whatever you're used to, your normal way you're used to pasting. And there's a picture of my monitor showing that I set up the print dialog box. So again, don't resize these. Help me save not getting trifocals, and put this in. Your books, pages 52 and 53, talk about switching to read mode. You have a button down here on your taskbar. Switch you to read mode. If you like it, use it. I have not liked it yet, so I'm not using it. But it can certainly be one way of looking at them. We usually work in print layout view where what you see is what you get, what's coming off the printer. This is the end of chapter 1. I hope this helped you learn the concepts, and you'll want to check on Blackboard for the lab assignment and instructions for that. In fact, always check Blackboard before we start a project. For example, the instruction to take a print screen of your print preview window was listed on Blackboard.